Hello everyone, welcome to Travel Insights, where we take a deep dive into the psyche of leading travel industry veterans from the travel, tourism and hospitality industry. Today's episode on Travel Insights, we have with us Manoj Mathew. Manoj is a seasoned hotelier and is currently the general manager of the Taj MG Road, Bangalore. He has been with the Taj group of hotels for a long time, and his stint with Taj has taken him across cities, states and continents, from Kerala to Gujarat, from Zambia to Sri Lanka. Apart from being the general manager, he wears various other hats. He is the president of SKAL Bangalore, as well as a founding member of the Karnataka Tourism Society and a member of the advisory board of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce on tourism. He's an avid traveler, a nature lover, and this is a phrase which he has coined, and I just love this phrase, a disciple of world cuisine. Very interesting, Manoj. Welcome to today's discussions, and let's start straight away with how long have you been in this industry, and what has been your experience so far?
Yeah, it's over 3 decades, 34 years with Taj, and I would say it's an enriching experience because of the way the whole industry is evolving, and the fact that when you work for a company like Taj, you also get an opportunity to travel and take up assignments. And when you see that the tourism is evolving, it's an amazing experience, and I don't think I would trade this profession for anything else.
So have you been with the Taj Group since the very beginning, or were you?
In fact, it's amazing that I started my career in the hotel from which I'm going to retire.
Oh really? You started here at Bangalore?
I started in Bangalore.
Oh, that's amazing.
1986, and I'm retiring now by the end of this.
So is it a coincidence, or is it planned?
I should think it's God-given.
Oh, that's great.
Because I didn't ask for it, so I guess I'm one of the fortunate few.
And having traveled all over these places, how did your experience go in terms of being a disciple of world cuisine?
Yeah, so I feel that cuisine is something, even our own country, if you take our own country, each state is like a country. You can look at it, and it's also constantly evolving. There was a time when they said that Indian cuisine means you had to put spices and chilies, and so now it is changing. People say that there are other flavors and other spices which can bring out the flavors. And fortunately, being in the industry, I've been traveling to different parts of the country, and each place has got something to offer, and I think I can always blame it to the cuisine for my weight.
No, and do you think cuisine can form a good part of a travel itinerary? Is cuisine tourism something which has a future?
Well, it has got a huge future, especially people who have just discovered. Now, if a country like India, if you've just discovered that you like Indian cuisine, then this is the place where you can start from one end of India to the other, and you will find that there might be very little similarity, and there is abundance of choices, abundance of flavors, and you can actually fall in love with the whole Indian cuisine.
So now coming back to the hospitality industry, how have you seen the industry evolve over these last 30 odd years that you've been in the industry?
I think the technology has played a great role.
As a useful tool or as a disruptor? How would you put it?
I think it's a useful tool if you don't overly depend on it. I think because the human factor should not be totally displaced. I always feel that you can use technology to probably get the data of preferences and stuff like that. But if you substitute it with a human, then I think we are doing a big disservice to this whole service industry, especially in tourism, where now it's all experiential. It's not that you go to a place. There was a time, I know when we were small, a kind of holiday was going to your grandparents' houses. That was the extent of holiday. But now that is changing. Now people want to take breaks, I guess, because the stress levels have gone up. So the breaks are frequent, and they also want to discover their own countries. So when it's an experiential stay, I think a human element does come into play. So I think there has to be a balance.
So basically, as a hotelier, you have captured the person's preferences, so the customer preferences have been taken into account, and you are ensuring, using technology, ensuring that he gets the experience that he really requires. Is there any particular change you would like to see in the travel, tourism and hospitality industry over the coming years?
I think the focus should be on infrastructure. For anybody to reach a destination, it has to be fast, it has to be accident free, and it has to be safe. And I think that is one area where we probably will have to work a lot, and we will have to partner with the authorities and agencies so that the guests can reach a destination very fast. The other thing is that we should have information of all kind available at the drop of a hat, which is relevant. Because tourism is not only those people who are seeking to have some fun and leisure. Now there is medical tourism. There are tourism for art and culture. So there are different aspects of tourism, and people are constantly looking. So there are small interest groups who would like to come to a place, the literary festival. So if we can get those information, and so I think it should be the focus that there should be one point where they can get this information so that it's easy to find hotels and book. That's where you take in technology also.
Now, sustainable tourism is a key word now, and I think tourism lends itself very easily to sustainability. So how has the hospitality industry worked towards sustainable tourism?
I think we are also the biggest culprits because we do produce a lot of waste, we do consume a lot of stuff. So I think it's really time that we look at eco-friendly practices very, very closely. And it's great that it's not just an industry movement, it's a worldwide movement. So I think if we try to fight it, then we are foolish. Because there's a worldwide consciousness on environment, and rightfully so. Directly the hotels, for example, our Taj group, we are looking at eliminating plastic very soon in all aspects. No, that's just a small drop in that. We are looking at all aspects of energy efficiency, saving water, recycling, reuse. So I think all hotels will have to join hands to ensure that environmentally conscious, because the guests are also looking at it. It's not just because
they're
the government
conscious.
The guests are also very conscious of this.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of time that we have all practices which are eco-friendly.
Now, what do you think about the tourism industry? Again, going back to sustainable tourism, being able to aid local artisans and local art and craft to flourish, because those things seems to be dying arts, and part of the sustainability goals is to revive those arts.
So I think the way forward is the word called localization, where you need global standards, international standards, but there necessarily has to be a local ethnic touch where you need, because the guest wants to get the feel of the place. And these are dying arts, which not only for the sake of providing livelihood, this is also for the sake of preserving the culture and ethnicity of the place. I think there needs to be more synergy between hotels, so that it is not a one-off case where one hotel or one hotel chain supports them. It should be all the hotels of the region supporting their. Ideally, there should be a cultural center where they can send your guests to view this, so that there is a sustained level of interest and income for the people performing it.
Now, coming to your various roles in terms of tourism development with the Karnataka Tourism Society and with BCIC, what do you feel the tourism boards need to do, and what do you think are they missing out on in terms of developing tourism, promoting tourism to destinations, not just, I'm not talking about just one state, but overall?
See, from what I see is that while tourism is a national subject, even in the state, there has to be more synergy between departments in the state. For example, tourism cannot grow in isolation unless it combines with surface transport. or with environmental agencies. So I think time has come where there should be a lot more synergy between departments in the state government, who will then come together to give viable solutions to investors who want to invest in this industry, so that he doesn't run from pillar to post once he decides to invest.
And to what extent do you think the role of private players from the tourism industry itself, do they need to partner with governments, the tourism boards, and to what extent should such synergies work?
It's like chicken and egg. I think if your infrastructure is great, then you probably will have more investors coming, more hotels coming, and more tourism destinations coming, and more guests coming. So I think the focus should be first on getting our act together, getting the infrastructure right, making the place hygienic, accessible, and safe and secure for the guests to come.
And then try and push the destinations.
Then the destination, I think, will promote by itself. Investors will come by itself.
To what extent do you think the public-private partnership model would work?
It is important. It is important. But I think, there is no lot of consciousness of joint ventures, say even in building roads and bridges. So I think tourism should also have joint ventures where there is enough role for each stakeholder to play. But it has to be balanced because if an investor has to put in money, we have to also ensure that his returns are attractive.
So you think the government or the departments should be the driving force and probably the guide the private players?
I think the department should be the facilitator.
As a facilitator, goal setter, facilitator?
It should be a facilitator as long as the vision for tourism which the department has set for the state is being enhanced by the investor or the private participant. I think they should continue to play the role of a facilitator so that the investor is encouraged. The private participation is much more robust.
So Manoj, now one final question. Being a hotelier for more than 30 years, what would you like to say to the new generation who wants to come into the travel, tourism and hospitality industry?
I think you should be passionate, crazily passionate about what you want to do, whether it is any profession that you choose.
That, of course.
That should be there. And I think if you're passionate, that's the first step. And you have the right attitude towards learning. Because I still feel that even after 3 decades in the industry, I still feel that every new place I go, there's much to learn. So I think if you have these 2 attitudes, I think you can succeed in any profession.
Basically what you say is that for the new generation who wants to come into the industry is ready to welcome them?
Yeah, industry has got much more options. It's not, there was a time when traditionally you have to do a hotel management course and then join the hospitality industry. I think that's changing. You need not be a thoroughbred hospitality. It helps you. But now there are specialized courses.
And finally, now you say you're going to retire. Is there anything over the last 34 years which has happened which you would like to have done differently?
So there's a quote from Groucho Marx. It says that there's one thing I want to do in life before I quit is retire. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not quitting. I'm only retiring. I'm hanging my boots only at the Taj. I will continue to be working in industry. So I guess it's not very easy to stop working now.
Get away from it. Thank you so much, Manoj. It was a pleasure having you here, and all the very best in your retired life. And of course, since you say you're not quitting, we'll be in touch. Thank you. So if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more such insightful sessions.